Dan's daughter's waiting. We should get started on time.
I saw the agenda and I was like, well, that's what I think.
No, that's a good
Alright.
idea.
I will call to order tonight's meeting for Wednesday, June 11, 2025, and we will start with the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Blackburn,
Present.
Ms. Fritsch,
Present.
Mr. Midgley, Mr. Sholey,
Present.
Dr. Johnson,
Present.
Mr. Speakman.
Present.
Mr. Midgley is excused from this evening's meeting. All right, we will start with administration, please. Ryan?
Yes, the only matter that I have on the agenda, this is a discussion that the controller and I had. The vehicle that was issued to the manager by the township was involved in an accident on May 20th. It ended up being totaled. We've gotten about $20,000. I believe the insurance payment for it was $20,344. I'm looking to get a replacement vehicle. It probably will not be for the next few months. I think that's probably the most realistic time frame, unless something's changed. And Susan can correct me there. The vehicle that we're looking to purchase is a Ford Explorer, because that's sort of the model that we're going to be moving towards with police vehicles and our fleet there. The additional cost beyond the insurance would probably be about $20,000 to $25,000. In talking about this with Mr. Speakman, what we had set out as kind of the game plan was to get authorization from council to transfer that money from capital reserve if need be at the end of the year, depending on how general fund revenues and expenses turn out. So this would only be in case that transfer actually needs to happen. We would not do it until the end of the year, if necessary. So, Jerry, I don't know if you want to chime in there. Okay, I guess I summarized it. I would like to point out.
I will only say that the previous manager would have had an Explorer, except it didn't fit in his garage.
Okay.
They don't make the Edge anymore.
They do not. It's the last model year of the Edge was last year. I would also like to point out my perfect driving record prior to a month ago.
And you have to point out you were not at fault.
No, I was not at fault. I was the middle of the sandwich, unfortunately.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Jerry, we have no concerns about this expense. No. All right. Anybody have any questions?
As long as Ryan's not hurt. It's okay.
Only my pride.
All right. Anything else for administration?
No, nothing.
Okay. Public safety? No, Tom. Anything for public safety? All right. Community services.
Good evening. The first item on the agenda is the Kraus Run Stream Bank Restoration Project. Bids are due on June 23rd, and we will have a recommendation for council for your June 25th meeting.
How many bid packets were picked up or sent out?
Last time I talked to Adam, 3 were sent out, and that was about a week ago.
All right. Does anyone have any questions about this item? All right. I believe we have another item for community services.
Yes. The next item is the 2025-26 winter season, the rock salt agreement with the North Hills COG. We had put in an amount for 3,500 required tonnage. We kept it the same as last year. The cost did go up quite a bit. For option year number 1, it's going to be $88.01 per ton, which is a $3.79 increase from this past season. So we have it on the agenda for your approval of the agreement.
Have we decided that we're definitely going to go with the North Hills COG? Because Ryan, I know you were looking at something with SHACOG, weren't you?
Yes, and Susan and I had some discussions about this, and Susan subsequently, of course, I guess I don't want to really speak to you, Susan, when I'm not in the room, but I know you had discussions with the Public Works foreman. And what we're to kind of keep our options open, we're just going to put in for 500 tons through the South Hills Area Council of Governments because they're actually doing a bid. They're basically 1 year ahead of where North Hills COG is in terms of they're going to be going out to bid. So this kind of gets our foot in the door there, and depending on how the winter season is, and if we have issues with any of these other suppliers, we can make a decision sort of after the next winter in terms of what we want to do.
Okay. Jerry, I know you have some concerns.
As has been previously identified, there is a statement in the COG contract which specifies that we will buy all of our salt up to 125% of the commitment from the COG supplier. And as you know, we do make purchases from the state contract, and so that terminology has bothered me.
It has bothered me as
in
well.
past years, and I would really like to see us be able to address and clean that up so that it would recognize that we can purchase from other suppliers as we necessarily have to, because the current supplier to the North Hills COG has not been able to meet our requirements over a period of time. And so we've had some flexibility. It's never been an issue. It's never been contested that we do that, but I would just like to see if we can get an amendment to that statement in the contract.
Yeah, that's going to have to be a part of the negotiations for next year's. Obviously, it's too late for this year. Ryan, if you have any more input on that.
No, I would agree with you entirely on that one. The problem is that was what was in the initial bid package for this. I think, I would just say that language is kind of standard in terms of what you see not only from North Hills COG, but SHACOG and even the CoStars program. You can buy up to 125%. That's all it's saying. It's not saying, and that's only of the allotment that you're actually seeking from North Hills COG. But I understand what you're saying today, and I'll take a closer look at it too when I get back. But I think I would agree with Susan. I think that's something you'd have to clean up in the next bid.
The statement in there says the buyer also agrees to purchase all of its additional requirements as needed up to 125%.
Okay,
It's not what we
that's
did.
fair.
So what are we
There's-
asked to vote on at the next meeting?
The agreement that was provided to you, the option year agreement between
Yeah.
Morton Salt and Hampton Township. It's a standard agreement that we've had in place for a long time. There's never been, I understand what you're saying about that one section, but in all the years that I've been here, I've never heard of any issues that they said, why are you ordering from the state or anything like that.
Agreed.
To me, the bigger problem this past year was municipalities taking their maximums before a lot of the other municipalities even took their requirements. So I think that's going to be a bigger discussion with the COG managers and Public Works departments for
Agreed.
next season.
Agreed.
Jerry, is there some penalty for violation? I mean, yeah, I mean,
It doesn't
I don't
specify.
think it's
doesn't
ever
say,
said.
right?
It's just a clause that's been in the contract. I know my first, 3 years on council, I questioned it and I was
What
basically
could they
always
do?
told, don't
Not
worry about
provide
it.
us salt next year?
Yeah.
Me personally, and Ryan, you can say if you want to, I would think if you go over the 125%, they have every right to charge you more than what is in the agreement.
Yes.
But they
So-
have yet to do
That's
that.
that's
But
right.
that's
Yes.
stated in there, and we
Yes.
agree to that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
it's just
Susan-
an issue of the second supplier.
Exactly, and we will always have like 2 different agreements because of the issues that we had this year. Both were having problems towards the end with salt
Providing salt,
supplies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, and yes, we were a little bit over in the amount this year. My apologies for that. but.
Are you controlling the weather now?
Yeah.
No, I know he looks at me every meeting, but, yes, this is a standard agreement, and we would ask that it be signed this year. I know that there's gonna be a lot more discussions in both the Public Works meetings through the COG as well as the managers regarding these salt agreements, for sure.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All right, anything else for community services?
Nothing else, thank you.
All right, environmental services, please.
Thank you, Madam President. We will be looking for ratification of action to purchase the furniture through the CoStarz Cooperative Purchasing Program for the treatment plant.
Any questions? All right, anything else for environmental services?
The plant is moving along well, and also too, I just wanted to thank Community Services and everybody at the Community Center for the great Touch a Truck event that we just had a couple hours ago. I had the opportunity to spend some time with my staff there and was amazed on how many people came by and wanted to see all the equipment, and they weren't all of them. So it was really great to have an opportunity to do that. So
Yeah,
it was a great event.
It was a
Very
really
cool.
great event. I was surprised to see how many people were there. It was fantastic.
My chauffeur drove me through the park to pick up my son at about 4:15, and it was very well attended.
Yes.
Very well. I asked them to stop, but I think they're too old. Yeah. I said, let's stop, Jen. I want to go home. Okay.
Was the life light there?
I
Yes.
saw it come like over
Yeah.
my house actually, but I wasn't there when
Wasn't
I
there when
drove
you
by.
had
No.
Yeah, it
I
was.
like to think
was
even
there
for a
for,
16-year-old, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I saw it kind of come and go. How's your?
Gravitated toward the helicopter as it landed.
That's pretty cool.
And as it was taking off.
Very
But
cool.
you had some pretty cool demos.
Oh, thank you.
So.
Yeah, staff did a great job. People actually took the time to see our equipment, which was great.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it was
I missed
really neat. All right, zoning and planning.
I have nothing tonight unless there are questions.
I had one for Jim, and I didn't get. How's the roof leak issue? Better,
that's right.
worse, same?
It's getting better.
Okay.
It's not perfect yet. They flooded it again today,
On purpose.
on purpose.
Right. Okay.
Like 3 feet of water on the roof. So there's some dampness behind the now painted drywall in several of the rooms. So we're hoping that this gets ironed out. I just sent an email again to engineering and to press this. We need an answer and we need it solved. So we're hoping we're close.
Okay. Other business?
I would just point out, Pints in the Park is this Friday from 5 to 9. We had lovely weather. It was a little cool for the first one of the year, but hopefully the weather holds out and it's perfect again this Friday.
All right, and of course, we have the Farmers Market, Summerween coming up, and Community Day.
So what Summerween is like?
Like a Halloween event at
in
the pool.
summer.
Yeah, but didn't it start in Gravity Falls? Yeah, it's kind of sad that I know that. All right, anybody
What's that from?
else? Gravity Falls?
Yeah.
You've not seen Gravity Falls?
No.
No.
Okay.
Is that a show? Is it
Yes.
a movie?
I think she's telling you to Google it.
I don't know.
I've heard of it at least.
It's kind of, we can talk about it later. Look it up. Yes.
I will
All
not.
right, anybody else have anything for other business?
I just had one item. And I'm bringing it up because I think this particular constituent, I won't say her name just because, I didn't foresee this as an agenda item, but I think she's talked to all, at least 4 of the council members about the intersection at Wildwood and Middle Road.
Yes.
And so, I think her concern is that it's a dangerous intersection. I think there's been some talk of the fact that, maybe it can be addressed when we look at the other end of Wildwood Extension. But I just want to make sure that I'm in alignment with kind of what the communication has been with her and what the response is to her concern. So I just wanted to kind of ask the other council members, I guess, what the communication has been and how we should respond to her concern.
Well, it sounds like maybe she's also reached out to you and Ryan.
Yeah.
She's reached out to
Yes.
Ryan, she's been talking with Ryan.
So maybe Ryan can start. I just
Yeah.
feel like she's talked to everybody, and I just feel like
She has, and I would say this. She's actually like very reasonable to talk to, and I think that I know Dan. She spoke with you first, and
Yes.
I think the discussions have been, productive. She obviously wants to see a four-way stop at that intersection. The concerns that I have for that are Trans Associates did an updated study of that intersection for us last year because they had said they had done one years before with it, and they did an update at the end of last year. And one of the things they found was if you would do two stop signs on Middle Road, if you look, and Julie, I know you'd reached out to me and I'd sent you, the pages and everything in the study. I think it's pages 9 through 10 or through 12.
Yeah.
But it shows the impact of what that would be in terms of delays on Middle Road and queuing. And I do have some level of concern there. And I did voice that to the residents, also, and I voiced it. She's met with other people, and I voiced it to them. I will say this: if you'd like, when I'm back, we can talk about this more. I think there might be an option, but anything we would do there, I want to at the very least do on a trial basis. And I do have, and I know Tom has been in these meetings as well. He has real concerns too about the delays and the queuing that would result. I believe the intersection southbound on Middle goes from like an A to a C, and there's like a 25-second delay that results from putting stop signs at the intersection. Jerry, I believe you had some very colorful remarks to me when I made that suggestion.
To say the least.
But yeah, so that's been sort of the communication with her is really expressing a lot of, not saying her concerns aren't legitimate, but also saying there are other concerns to take into consideration in terms of the impact of doing a stop control at that intersection.
Yeah, and she emailed me, and that's when I emailed Ryan to see if she had contacted the township.
Yeah.
I emailed her back and just said if she wanted to talk. I gave her my cell phone. I have not spoken to her because I gave her my availability of Friday and Monday, this coming Friday and this Monday. But I also, in my email, encouraged her to come to a meeting to address the entire council. So.
And
Yeah.
I would just throw in that it is trees on her property that cause part of the site issues.
No,
Different
this is-
issue.
this is a different
Yeah.
one.
Different resident.
This is a different resident.
Residents that have reached out.
Mhm.
I think this person, you talked to her, correct?
yeah, she
Yes.
said that
Yes.
she had talked to Dan.
I've
yeah.
talked to her at least twice. Yes.
There,
Yeah. And I talked to her once, and then we have a scheduled call for tomorrow, and that's where I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure I was relaying information
Yeah.
that was aligned with, kind of how the perspectives and
Yeah.
how we've been thinking about the problem.
I've talked to her at least twice. I think Ryan summed it up really well. Her concerns are legitimate. I think she was involved in an accident, unfortunately, there as
was,
well
yeah.
recently.
I think her
She
son
was.
And I left it with her, with respect to the bigger project at Route 8, I told her there's no way to do them consecutively, that's the bigger project. Even if something were to be done there, it can't be consecutive, it would have to come after.
Yeah.
If there is anything to do there, and I don't know what that is, I told her many times I'm not a civil engineer. But I did tell her, I'll talk to Ryan, we'll see what kind of quick wins, quote unquote. She was mentioning, she mentioned temporary stop signs, like see what happens. I think Ryan just addressed that. We also
Yeah.
talked briefly about like putting something on the pavement that says like dangerous intersection ahead or
Yeah,
something
I'm
like
curious
that.
if there's anything
Just
like
like as
additional
a
signage
quote
that we
unquote
could do.
quick win, right?
So this is
Yeah.
Middle Road extension, or Middle Road and Wildwood
Yes.
extension.
The T.
It's,
Yes.
it's really
Right-
a
right by my
three-way.
house.
Yeah. Well, it's on the way to your
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
There seems
And
to
Susan-
be, while I am not saying that, it's a perfect intersection, there seems to be other intersections in our township that if I were going to address, I might address those first before this one, because there is a stop sign on Middle. There's a yield sign, when you're coming on, when you're going on the middle, there seems to be for all those paying attention, adequate controls at that intersection in place. When you start adding stop signs on Middle Road, I agree with the queue issue, because there's also, you're coming around bends at that point, and if you have a backup in traffic, I fear that there's going to be additional accidents, and that's obviously something we're trying to avoid.
That's kind of beyond where I typically go on Wildwood Extension. Is there a sign that says cross traffic does not stop?
No.
No.
And that might be an
Maybe
easy
something-
fix right there.
yeah.
Right, I think that's the
I
extent.
mean, if it's a sign like that, yeah.
There's only a stop sign on Wildwood,
Yes.
and then of course, there's nothing
Mhm.
on Middle, so you
Right.
have to yield if you're gonna take that. And, you know, in the dark, actually, it's really hard to see where that lane
Yeah.
line is, and then where that little, you know, triangle
Where that
median
island
is, like.
is, yeah, maybe better visibility
I
on that
don't know if
island
there's a
would
way,
help.
you know, you can't do it in Pennsylvania so much because you have all the snow plows, but in other places where I've lived, you know, you have those reflecting squares or whatever they're called, that so you can see it in the dark. It's just that when it snows a lot and stuff, you can't put those down because they get scraped up.
Yeah,
But
we picked up about 50 of them on
Yeah.
garbage day.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get why we don't use them around
Yeah.
here, but it is a
So
practical
we have
solution
extra
to seeing
somewhere.
in
Did
the
you
dark.
say?
Well, they went
So-
out with the trash.
Maybe some super glue or
Yeah.
something, you know.
And that's what
And
we
I
left
w-
at Bethany. You know, I mean, other than a total redesign, which to Ryan's point,
Yeah.
even if you do, I don't, you know, it's years away. And what do you do? I don't think there's a solution to really do anything other than a stoplight or a stop sign, which I'm certainly not in favor
Maybe
of.
additional signage that indicates that the Middle Road traffic doesn't stop, and on Middle Road warns of,
Something like that.
yeah.
Now, Middle Road's
Maybe
also
that
a
would
county road.
Yes.
Yes,
She did
as
in her
is
email to
Wildwood.
me that she contacted state representatives, but I don't know if she contacted county
The county.
representatives, which seems to be maybe an integral part of her
Roundabout.
desire.
Well, I did
Well said.
tell her that, you know, regardless of the election in November, we probably will have a county representative right here from Hampton, so
Yes.
she might have a case, right? I did tell her that. So,
True.
yeah.
And I would say, I know Susan's always in touch with the property owners there in terms of like the landscaping and how it affects the sight lines as you're coming down Middle. So, you know, we have been pretty active in trying to, you know, make sure visibility at that intersection is as good as it can be.
Yes, because I mentioned to Jerry and Rob this morning that that property owner, the wife, she recently complained, with basically the same complaint that the woman that you've been talking to, the resident you've been talking to. So she has the same concerns as the other one.
She lives on Middle, or she lives.
She was right there.
Is she on that corner there? And that?
Right in the intersection,
That
the big
house
property
right
at the
across
intersection.
Yeah. So
The
if
short
if
street.
you're going down Wildwood, it's on the
all
left,
the vegetation.
or it's on the right?
Straight ahead.
Her
Oh,
concerns are the same
oh,
as-
straight ahead on the other side.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
she was
It's got
asking
the
for,
triple
like,
lot
a
and
two-way
the
stop
trees
there.
going around the bend and.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. I'm just gonna I'm gonna let her know actually that we discussed it generally at the council meeting and some of the issues that were said, and if she wants to come and speak to us and make sure that her concerns are on the record, that you know we would encourage her to do that.
All right, sounds
Okay.
good.
Great. Thank you.
All right, anyone else have anything for other business? All right, then I will adjourn this evening's meeting. Thank you everyone, Frank, for coming.
Thanks, Frank.
I got into that discussion.